now and then, something in this market really screws up, especially during earnings season where there's so many reports coming that it's really difficult to notice when you've made a mistake. Take Masimo, that's symbol MASI. It's a medical device company that traffics in non-invasive patient monitoring technologies like pulse oximetry and measuring the oxygen level in your blood, where they've turned a previously slow and inaccurate process into something that's both efficient and precise. While Masimo's stock has been a fabulous long-term performer, with a stock that's up more than 25% year-to-date, it sold off hard over the past week and a half, and I think some of it had to do with a misunderstanding. See, when Masimo reported on May 3rd, one of the firms that collates these numbers, an outfit called Zacks, incorrectly said the company missed its earnings forecast in an auto-generated article. That story got picked up by a bunch of agencies, including Associated Press. In response, Masimo stock plunged immediately, nearly 15%, single session, going from 103 to 88. It's been headed lower ever since. While the mistake has been corrected by the initial outlets to spread the story, we're still seeing others in the media claim that the stock dropped because of disappointing earnings. But let's just accept the fact that it wasn't, because it was a good quarter. The company posted a 22-cent earnings beat off a 60-cent basis, and that's a huge one. And its revenue came in higher than expected, up 8.8% year over year. Even better, management gave stronger than anticipated full-year guidance for both the top and bottom line. In short, maybe because of this screw-up from the financial services industry, the stock's been obliterated. I'm wondering if you're not getting an incredibly rare buying opportunity, a name that's been roaring higher for the past couple of years. Don't take it from me, though. Let's check in with Joe Kiani. He's the founder, chairman, and CEO of Masimo Corporation. Get the real story of the quarter and where his company's headed. Mr. Kiani, welcome to Man Money.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for having us.
All right, Joe, I have to tell you, I went over some of these stories. It did seem like, from the headlines, that you disappointed and you cut your forecast. That was not the case, right?
No, it was not the case. But I guess in this day of fake news, we should have expected something like that. But I think unlike the normal fake news, this had even a greater impact because you have these robo-news agencies trying to use artificial intelligence to give information. But unfortunately, when they get it wrong, you have robo-computers selling or buying based on that news. So I think this had a terrible, vicious cycle.
Well, we actually had this happen with an outfit called Chegg. It's a really nice little company. The stock went down to $3 on exactly what happened. Dan Rosenzweig came on the show and said, listen, I didn't do any of these things, and the stock is now up to 11. So if we had to do over again, what should have been the headlines about your quarter?
Masimo beats earnings per share estimates and beats revenue, not the headline that Masimo missed the earnings per share guidelines.
All right, let's talk about how you did that. One of your signature catchphrases, and I've seen it in the commercials, better data equals better performance. And this is both for the individual and for the hospital. Tell us about what professionals in sports and at the hospital are doing with your machines.
Absolutely. First of all, we've begun in the hospital market. Over 100 million people are monitored with our technology. And the reason is, unlike conventional pulse oximeters that gave false alarms 70 to 90% of the time, we invented a technology called SET that actually works through the motion and low perfusion that caused the false alarms. So now false alarms have been reduced by over 95%, while true alarms have actually increased. So in hospitals, it's had a huge impact. It's reduced retinopathy of prematurity on neonates. It's helped detect congenital heart defect in newborns and has changed the landscape in post-surgical wards where patients need to be monitored, but because they were moving, they couldn't be. And Dartmouth Hitchcock showed that they not only saved $1.5 million a year using it, but knock on wood, they haven't had any more dead in bed for almost 10 years.
Well,
now for sports, sorry, go ahead,
Let me just
Jim.
ask you, I want people to know that this study, it's 122,738 infants that you have results of. It's not just something that's anecdotal, right?
That's correct. Thank you. There's been 3 very large-scale studies done, UK, China, Sweden, and for the first time, because of our accuracy, they can now use pulse oximetry to know if your newborn, before you take him or him home, has critical congenital heart defect. And it's had a profound impact on saving lives and saving money.
Now, let's say, yes, you've teamed up in 2015 with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for something that you just revealed. Now, it's not being sold in the United States. Got to make that point. But this is a pneumonia screener. I mean, right now, you got to breathe into a tube. You get maybe not, a lot of false positives. How about with your machine?
Well, first of all, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they looked at 20 pulse oximeters. They took the top 3 to 5 countries where 1 million children are unfortunately dying every year from pneumonia and tested it. Our error rate was less than 3%. The next best pulse oximeter was over 30%. So I'm really happy to tell you we partnered with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They actually helped fund the development of this new product called RAD-G. They gave us nearly $5 million, and now RAD-G will hopefully be used to detect pneumonia and should hopefully save hundreds of thousands of lives every year.
All right, now, I don't want to be frivolous, but I happen to have right now what I regard as being the ultimate sports oximeter. This is what you can put in your finger, and it's available in a lot of different stores. Who's buying it, and who should be buying it?
Well, super athletes, elite athletes are buying it. We first got turned on to this idea by an Olympian from California, Datsu Bosch. She won the 2012 silver medal for cycling. And she told us she used our technology to let her know how hard to push herself. And when she used that number, she knew when to go push, and she knew she'd have good recovery, or when to, as she put it, take the day off and go to the spa.
Well, I'll tell you, it's terrific, and I hope we've cleared up some of the confusion, because it's all systems go from what I can see. And I want to thank you, Joe, for being first time on Mad Money. Joe Chiani, founder, chairman, and CEO of Masimo, which is doing quite well. Good to meet you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Pretty interesting company. Stock's down a lot. Probably a lot more than it should be. Stay with Cramer. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.